Hi everyone, we're thrilled to have you join us for our latest video. As the year draws to a close, let's embrace these heartwarming days together with Tien, Jack, and the people we hold dear. Jack, a charismatic and accomplished young CEO, once made a name for himself as a brilliant engineer. But beyond his professional excellence, he's a genuinely kind and thoughtful person. Despite the heavy demands of his career, Jack chose to put everything on hold to stand by Tien, the woman he loves deeply. Tien, a gentle soul with boundless hope, has carried the weight of losing her family since she was young. This journey isn't just her chance to reconnect with her roots, it's also a powerful testament to her unwavering courage and determination. In today's video, we'll walk alongside Jack and Tien on their journey. Each step reveals touching moments, unforeseen challenges, and sparks of hope. Will they find the happiness they're searching for? Stay tuned to find out. Tien stood quietly on the hill, her gaze lost in the valley below. Her voice was soft, tinged with sadness, though she tried to stay composed. The view is beautiful from up here, isn't it? Jack glanced at her, a gentle smile flickering on his face. He could see through her attempt to mask the turmoil in her heart. After a brief pause, Jack turned to her and suggested cautiously, "Why don't we try visiting a few more villages, Tien?" She hesitated, her voice growing heavy with uncertainty. "I'd like to, but I'm worried about your work, and my farm too." Jack didn't respond immediately, instead giving her hand a light squeeze to offer reassurance. Tien lowered her head, her words now burdened by doubt. "Yesterday, when the village chief took us to that house, I felt so hopeful. But now I'm scared that hoping too much will only lead to more disappointment." She lifted her eyes to meet Jack's. Her expression conflicted. "Let's head home for now and figure things out later." Jack held her gaze for a moment, his voice steady and full of conviction. "If you ever want to try again, I'll be there to take you. That's a promise, Tien." A faint, bittersweet smile touched her lips, though her eyes still betrayed lingering worries. I wonder what their lives are like now. Things are already so tough here, and if they're struggling too." Jack interrupted gently, his tone calm but resolute. "Come on, Tien. Let's take this path today." She nodded and followed Jack down the winding red dirt road. Her heart remained heavy, but she knew that his presence beside her was the greatest support she could ask for, giving her the strength to keep hoping. On the winding mountain road, Jack glanced over at Tien. The soft breeze teased her hair, and his gaze grew warm with affection. "This is such a beautiful road, isn't it, Tien?" His deep voice felt like it belonged to the landscape, though his eyes never left her. Tien looked up at him, a faint smile gracing her lips, though her eyes hinted at wariness. Jack noticed instantly and asked, his voice tinged with concern, "Are you feeling tired?" She shook her head slightly, her voice gentle and a bit hesitant. "Just a little sleepy." But her words trailed off, her eyes shifting to the road ahead as if to conceal something. After a moment's pause, she continued, her tone soft but genuine. "I just don't want you to feel lonely without someone to talk to." Jack let out a quiet laugh, his gaze softening further. Her thoughtfulness, even in such a small comment, touched him deeply. His response was steady, filled with quiet reassurance. "I've grown used to long journeys." Tien stepped through the farm gate, his eyes scanning the surroundings with quiet anticipation. He hoped to catch a glimpse of Tien, the girl who had lingered in his thoughts for so long. But instead of her familiar figure, his gaze landed on a young woman sweeping the yard with focused diligence. "Hello," she greeted, offering Tien a polite smile. Tien paused for a moment, his confusion evident. Where's Tien? And, why are you here?" he asked, his tone carrying a mix of surprise and curiosity. The young woman returned a soft smile, her voice calm and polite. "I'm not sure, sir. I was just asked to come here and look after the farm." Tien frowned slightly, his curiosity deepening. "Oh, I see. So you're just here to clean up?" "Yes, that's correct, sir." "Please have some water," she replied quickly, pouring a glass and offering it to him. Tien accepted the water, but his thoughts were elsewhere, circling around unanswered questions. "Do you have any idea where Tien went?" he asked again, lowering his voice in the hope of learning more. The young woman shook her head, her expression straightforward. "I really don't know. I'm just here to look after things for a few days." Her response left him unsatisfied, but he maintained his composure. "How long has she been gone?" "Maybe a few days," she replied with a shrug. Tien's brow furrowed further, his frustration growing. He pressed on. "Do you know when she'll be back?" I'm sorry, I don't, she answered honestly. Tien exhaled heavily, his disappointment unmistakable. All right, I'll try another time. Thank you. The young woman nodded politely, her eyes following him as he turned to leave. Goodbye, sir. As Tien walked back through the gate, his steps felt heavier than when he arrived. He muttered quietly to himself, I don't know where she's gone. I've been here several times and never caught her. Is something going on? The dirt road stretched out before him, lonely and silent. Despite the emptiness in his chest, Tien clung to the hope that one day he would see Tien again and finally understand the story she hadn't yet shared. Jack and Tien returned to the farm after a long time away. Tien greeted Miss Hui cheerfully, the woman who had been helping look after the farm in her absence. The three exchanged a few words, their interactions filled with warmth and familiarity. Tien, with a caring tone, asked, Has everything been all right since you got here? Miss Hui smiled gently, offering reassurance. Everything's fine. You have nothing to worry about. When asked about her work, Miss Hui, with her usual straightforward and enthusiastic manner, shared that she had been cooking porridge for the dogs. Smiling proudly, she added, The vegetables are thriving, and I even collected some eggs and left them in the pantry. Gratitude gleamed into Tien's eyes as she nodded. Thank you so much for taking care of everything while I was gone. Meanwhile, Jack, calm yet approachable, struck up a conversation with Miss Hui as she mentioned wanting to buy a few dogs. Tien quickly joined in with a bright smile. I'll gift you two as a thank you for all your help. The three laughed and continued chatting comfortably. Just before leaving, Miss Hui suddenly brought something up. Oh, Jack, someone came by earlier looking for your girlfriend. Jack raised an eyebrow, curiosity sparking in his expression. Really? Do you know who it was? Miss Hui shook her head, a hint of uncertainty in her demeanor. I'm sorry, I don't know who they were. After saying her goodbyes and promising to come back the next day for the dogs, Miss Hui departed. Left alone, Jack and Tien exchanged thoughtful glances, both quietly wondering about the identity of the mysterious visitor. Jack and Tien sat quietly on the porch of the farm, their weariness evident after the long journey. Tien lowered her gaze, her voice soft but tinged with sadness. This trip didn't lead to anything either. I still couldn't find my family. Jack looked at her with comforting eyes, his concern clear. Don't let it get you down. I believe they might be somewhere, living better lives than the people we've met. Tien nodded, a faint, fragile smile crossing her lips as she replied softly, Thank you, Jack. Her expression turned distant as memories of the elderly and children they had met along the way resurfaced. Seeing those kids and the elderly, it made me feel so much for them. Especially the blind old woman living alone. I wished so badly she was my mother so I could take care of her. Jack fell silent, his own thoughts heavy with emotion. After a pause, he spoke gently, his voice steady. I felt the same way, but don't dwell on it too much. Maybe somewhere, your parents are living comfortably, doing better than we imagine. Tien looked up at him, a flicker of fragile hope lighting her eyes. I hope so. I really hope they're doing okay. Jack placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, his smile warm. Get some rest now. We've been traveling so much these last few days. Don't overwork yourself. She smiled faintly but brushed off her exhaustion. I'm all right. You should rest too. You have work tomorrow. Jack stood adjusting his jacket as his eyes lingered on her with gentle concern. Promise me you'll rest. Don't overthink things. Tien nodded, waving as Jack made his way toward the gate. She called out softly. Thank you for everything, Jack. Go ahead. I need to feed the birds. Jack turned back briefly, offering her one last smile, his gaze filled with quiet reassurance. Tien, stay strong, all right? Tien remained still, watching his figure fade into the distance. Her heart brimmed with gratitude, even as unresolved thoughts weighed heavily on her mind. Jack sat quietly in a cafe near his office, his gaze unfocused as he stared into the distance. The coffee in front of him had gone cold, unnoticed. His thoughts churned with worry, the weight of uncertainty pressing heavily on his shoulders. The vibration of his phone broke through his restless reverie. Hello, this is Jack, he answered, his voice hoarse and subdued. How's the work I asked you to help with going? Luan's calm yet urgent voice came through the line. I was just about to call you. I'm sitting with Tien from the police department. If you're free, you should join us. Jack frowned, tension and curiosity flashing across his face. Really? Where are you now? I'm still at the cafe near your office, Luan replied. All right, I'll be there shortly, Jack said, glancing at the door as he ended the call. With a deep sigh, he muttered to himself as if trying to find reassurance. Hopefully, this will bring some clarity and I can get back on track. Arriving at the cafe, Jack found Luan and Tien waiting. Luan looked contemplative, while Tien maintained a composed yet focused demeanor befitting an investigator. "Jack, you're here," Luan said, breaking the heavy silence. "Sit down. Let's go through everything. I've got some details, but I need you to fill in the rest." Jack pulled out a chair and sat, his gaze shifting between the two before speaking. "The project I signed, I had no idea it was a scam. The partner company deceived me with such precision. I reviewed all their legal documents thoroughly before signing. Everything appeared legitimate. I never expected this." Tien nodded thoughtfully, his voice steady but sharp. "I've reviewed some of the documents Luan provided. The partner company seems to be a shell operation. Their licenses and records were fabricated with remarkable skill. Interestingly, the company's legal representative was implicated in a similar fraud case 2 years ago." Jack's expression faltered, fear flickering in his eyes. "Are you saying someone in my company could be involved? That someone's trying to set me up?" Tien leaned back slightly, his gaze narrowing in thought. "That's a strong possibility. I've uncovered internal emails from the partner company, but some of them appear to have been altered before reaching you. This suggests collaboration from within your company." Jack froze, his face clouded with suspicion and distress. After a pause, he spoke hesitantly. "I can't say for sure, but recently Mr. Thiet, the deputy director overseeing the project, has been acting strangely. He wasn't happy when I was assigned to this project. And now, after all this, he's avoided helping me sort anything out." Tien's eyes sharpened, his tone serious. "Deputy Director Thiet is definitely someone to investigate. He was involved in the early stages of the contract, right?" Jack nodded, his anxiety palpable. "Yes, he was. If I can't uncover the truth, I'll be suspended and held responsible for massive financial losses. Everything I've worked for, my career, my reputation will be ruined." Luan placed a hand on Jack's shoulder, his voice firm. "Don't worry, Jack. We'll help you, but you need to tread carefully. Don't let them know you're investigating. If they catch wind of it, they'll cover their tracks." Tien nodded in agreement, his tone contemplative. "Exactly. I'll focus on investigating Thiet, but you need to watch your every step. This isn't just a simple scam, it's a sophisticated operation. They won't be easy to confront." Jack bowed his head, clenching his hands tightly as he steadied himself. In a low voice, he admitted, "I don't want to give up. I've turned down questionable deals in the past. Maybe that's why they're targeting me." Tien offered a faint smile, though his expression remained resolute. "Stay strong. I'm confident we'll get to the bottom of this. The truth will come to light." Jack lifted his head, a spark of hope in his eyes. He clasped Luan and Tien's hands, his voice thick with gratitude. "Thank you. I don't know what I'd do without you." Luan patted Jack's shoulder, his smile encouraging. "We'll get through this. Just keep your composure no matter what happens." Jack nodded slightly and stepped out of the cafe, his steps heavy with lingering uncertainty. Yet, the knowledge that he wasn't alone in this battle gave him strength. With trusted friends by his side, he held on to the belief that the truth would prevail. The story begins with Jack returning home after a long and disheartening journey. The weight of searching for Tien's family, the woman he deeply loves, pressed heavily on him. His conversation with his mother wasn't just a recounting of his trip, but a heartfelt reflection of family love, care, and mutual support. As Jack stepped into the house, his shoulders slumped and his eyes filled with weariness, his mother's gentle words, "You're back, aren't you?" seemed to unlock the emotions he had been holding back. Mrs. Mai's concern went beyond simple questions about his work or the journey. Her worried gaze and quiet sorrow revealed the depth of her care for her son and the burden she saw him carrying. When Jack shared the details of his quest, the dead ends, the shattered hopes, and the disappointment both he and Tien faced, his mother listened with profound empathy. Mrs. Mai was not just a gentle and understanding mother. She was also a source of unwavering strength, providing Jack with a space to unburden himself. Her words of encouragement were constant and heartfelt. "Keep her spirits high, Jack. Maybe in another journey, you'll find her family. For now, the most important thing is making sure she knows she's not alone." Her love didn't stop at Jack. It extended to Tien, whom she treated as her own daughter. Each word from Mrs. Mai carried the weight of her gentle wisdom and her belief in Jack. "All I want is for you to be happy." Tien is a kind-hearted girl, even with all she's endured. Face everything together, and I know my son will find a way through. The conversation also underscored Jack's determination and sense of duty. Despite his exhaustion and disappointment, he remained focused on finding a way to support Tien. I just want to find her family and give her back some of what she's missed all these years. Jack also shared the struggles of the Highland communities they encountered. Through his words, it was clear he wasn't only concerned about his personal mission, but also felt a responsibility toward the people he had met. He expressed a desire to return, not just to continue the search, but to provide help to those in need. The story ended with Mrs. May's encouraging words, her voice a steady beacon of hope for Jack. I believe in you, my son. You can accomplish anything. Be strong, not just for yourself, but so you can be the support Tien needs. Stay strong. Jack and Tien sat quietly in the car as streetlights flickered past the windows, illuminating Jack's slightly weary but ever-gentle expression. Tien shifted in her seat and glanced at him, her voice soft. Are you sure you're not tired? Jack smiled, his gaze warm and reassuring. No, I'm fine. What about you? A whole day of traveling. Are you holding up okay? Tien shook her head, her eyes drifting to the darkness outside. Though her voice was calm, there was a trace of hesitation. I'm all right. It's just the way it gets dark so early feels a bit strange. Jack nodded, his hands steady on the wheel as he responded in a soothing tone. It's winter. The nights come faster, but don't worry, we're almost there. Their drive led them to a small church nestled on the outskirts of town. Jack parked the car in front of the gate, where strings of twinkling Christmas lights cast a serene glow over the scene. He turned toward Tien, his eyes filled with tenderness and quiet determination. We've arrived. Let's go in and pray together. Stepping out of the car, Tien instinctively clasped her hands against the biting winter chill. Her petite frame seemed to meld into the soft, golden light streaming from the stained glass windows of the church. Jack, she began, her voice trembling slightly, not from the cold, but from a surge of unspoken emotions. Do you think there's still a chance we'll find my parents? Standing beside her, Jack's steady gaze met hers. His voice, warm and unwavering, carried the conviction of his heart. I truly believe they're out there, Tien, alive, safe, and waiting for you, just as you've always hoped. Inside the church, the gentle chime of bells and the calming melody of hymns wrapped them in a tranquil embrace. Kneeling at the front pew, the flickering candlelight revealed Tien's face, marked by both sadness and a glimmer of hope. This time, I hope my prayers come true, she murmured, her voice low but resolute. I don't care about their circumstances. I just want to see them, to know they're okay. Jack reached for her hand, holding it firmly as if to transfer his strength to her. Have faith, Tien. Good things will come, and I'll be here with you, every step of the way. After their prayers, they made their way back to the car. The drive was quiet, yet the atmosphere felt lighter, more peaceful. Tien turned to Jack, a faint but genuine brightness in her eyes. Thank you. Tonight, I feel like a weight has been lifted. Even if I don't find my family, I know I'm not alone. Jack's smile widened, and his warm voice filled the space between them. You'll never be alone, Tien. You have me, my mom, and everyone who loves you, and we won't stop. One day, your wishes will come true. As the winter night enveloped them in its quiet embrace, Jack and Tien's journey pressed on. Not just a search for family, but a shared path of hope, resilience, and love. Thank you for being a part of this heartfelt journey. While this trip didn't yield the outcome we hoped for, we believe that with unwavering determination and love, the day Tien reunites with her family is drawing closer. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on future journeys. Every like and share from you inspires us to continue bringing meaningful stories to life. We'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below to share your thoughts or send words of encouragement to Tien. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, we wish you a day filled with peace and love. See you in the next video.